You followed the blueprint. You optimized your routine. You curated your environment. You checked every box that was supposed to guarantee the feeling. And yet, when you sit in the quiet, when the noise fades, when the validation stops scrolling, the feeling is not there. Not sadness, not failure, just a flat, persistent absence. You tell yourself you should be grateful. You tell yourself you are lucky. You tell yourself happiness is a choice. But choice does not manufacture chemistry, and chemistry does not obey gratitude. This is the first crack in the lie. You have been sold happiness as a destination, a permanent state of alignment, comfort, and elevated effects. You have been taught that if you just arrange the variables correctly, the feeling will lock in and stay. But biology does not operate on permanent states. It operates on signals. Happiness is not a baseline. It is a transient neurochemical event. It is a marker, not a residence. And you have been trying to live inside a marker. Stay with me. This is not about cynicism. This is about calibration. When you treat a transient signal as a permanent goal, you invert the causal chain. You demand the reward before the work. You demand the feeling before the function. And the nervous system, bound by physiological law, rejects the inversion. It does not give you happiness because you optimized for it. It gives you anxiety because you are monitoring for it. You are not failing at happiness. You are succeeding at a flawed metric, and the metric is keeping you stationary. The lie is not that happiness does not exist. The lie is that it is something you can capture, hold, and maintain through willpower or routine. It is a byproduct, not a target. It emerges incidentally when you are aligned with direction, engaged with friction, and contributing to something outside your own nervous system. But you have been taught to chase it directly, to optimize for it, to filter your life through its lens. And direct pursuit of a byproduct guarantees its absence. You are not broken because you are not happy. You are misdirected because you are hunting the shadow instead of walking the path. Consider the architecture of the pursuit. You wake up and immediately scan your internal state. How do I feel? Is the mood right? Is the energy aligned? You treat your emotional baseline as a weather report that dictates whether you will engage with the day. If the report is clear, you proceed. If it is overcast, you delay. You have outsourced your agency to your affect. You have made movement conditional on mood, and mood is volatile. It is dependent on sleep, nutrition, light, social friction, and random neurochemical fluctuations. Basing your trajectory on a volatile variable guarantees fragmentation. You are not losing days to bad moods. You are losing days to conditional execution, and conditional execution never compounds. It only accumulates. This is how the lie takes root, not as a philosophical error, as a behavioral protocol. You have trained yourself to wait for the feeling before you initiate the action. You have been told that alignment precedes execution, that clarity precedes movement, that motivation precedes discipline. But the sequence is reversed. The brain does not generate the feeling to start the work. It generates the feeling as a result of the work. You have been reading the map backward. You are standing at the finish line demanding the medal before you have run the race. And the brain, recognizing the impossibility, shuts down. It conserves energy. It defaults to stillness. You call it lack of drive. It is actually logical conservation. You are asking a biological system to violate causality. It will refuse. Every time. Let us examine the neurochemistry of this pursuit. Dopamine is not the molecule of happiness. It is the molecule of anticipation. It spikes not when you arrive, but when you expect to arrive. And modern environments have weaponized this distinction. They sell you the expectation without the arrival, the preview without the product, the highlight reel without the substance. You have been trained to chase peaks, not plateaus. Every like, every notification, every validation hit delivers a micro spike of dopamine. But spikes are followed by crashes, and crashes create the urge to chase again. You are not pursuing happiness. You are pursuing the relief from the crash that the previous pursuit created. This is not a cycle of fulfillment. This is a cycle of withdrawal management. The trap is prediction error. Your brain constantly compares expected reward with actual reward. When you consume curated content, when you watch optimized lives, when you absorb the messaging that happiness is the default state, your brain updates its prediction. It expects baseline euphoria, but reality operates on variance. It delivers friction, delay, and discomfort. The gap between prediction and reality registers as failure, not as accurate data, as personal failure. You are not failing. Your prediction is inflated. This is how the happiness industry profits from your dissatisfaction. It does not sell you happiness. It sells you the measurement of happiness. It sells you the metrics, the morning routines, the gratitude journals, the optimization protocols, the biohacks. Each one promises to close the gap between where you are and where you should feel. But the gap is not a problem to be solved. The gap is the product. As long as you feel deficient, you will keep buying. As long as you keep buying, they will keep selling. You are not the customer, you are the commodity. Consider the neurological cost of constant monitoring. When you wake up and immediately scan your internal state, you activate the default mode network. You turn your attention inward. You become the observer of your own experience instead of the participant in it. This metacognition creates distance. It creates separation. It creates the exact condition where happiness becomes impossible, because happiness requires immersion, not observation. You cannot feel full while you are measuring how full you are. The measurement itself empties the vessel. This is why optimization backfires. You optimize the inputs: sleep, nutrition, light exposure, social connection, work output. But you treat them as levers to control an emotional state. And when the emotional state does not respond predictably, you blame the inputs. You add more levers, more protocols, more tracking, more measurement. But the nervous system is not a machine. It is an adaptive organism. It resists control. It requires autonomy. It generates meaning through participation, not through management. You are not managing yourself toward happiness. You are managing yourself away from presence. The mechanism is complete when you realize that the pursuit of happiness is itself the obstacle. Not because happiness is bad, because pursuit implies absence. When you pursue, you signal to your nervous system that you do not have, that you are lacking, that you are incomplete. And the nervous system listens. It internalizes the signal. It reinforces the state of deficiency. You are not chasing happiness. You are reinforcing unhappiness. Every time you ask, "Am I happy yet?" you answer no. And repetition is training. You are training yourself to feel absent in your own life. Here is the trap most people never see. You treat happiness as a state to be maintained. So you build a maintenance protocol. You monitor your mood. You filter your inputs. You avoid friction. You curate your interactions. You tell yourself you are protecting your peace, but you are not protecting it. You are imprisoning it. Maintenance requires vigilance. Vigilance requires tension. And tension is the exact opposite of peace. You are not resting. You are standing guard over an emotion that was never meant to be guarded. The mechanism is avoidance. To stay happy, you begin editing reality. You skip difficult conversations. You postpone hard decisions. You mute uncomfortable truths. You surround yourself with people who validate, not challenge. You treat discomfort as a malfunction instead of a signal. But discomfort is not the enemy of happiness. It is the raw material of depth. Without friction, there is no traction. Without tension, there is no growth. You are not building a calm life. You are building a fragile one. And fragility does not feel like peace. It feels like walking on glass. One misstep, one unexpected event, one moment of real stress, and the entire structure shatters. You are not happy. You are just untested. This is how positivity becomes toxicity. The command to stay positive is not encouragement. It is suppression. It trains your nervous system to treat normal human variation, sadness, doubt, anger, fatigue, as threats. You push them down. You label them as failures. You apologize for them. But emotions do not disappear when ignored. They accumulate. They settle in the body as chronic tension. They surface as irritability, insomnia, brain fog, sudden exhaustion. Anxiety is not a random glitch. It is unprocessed emotion waiting for a trigger. You are not anxious because life is too hard. You are anxious because you stopped letting life move through you. You built a dam, and dams always crack under pressure. Consider the social dimension of the trap. You measure your internal chaos against everyone else's external calm. You scroll through curated feeds, polished routines, filtered smiles, and you assume they figured it out. You didn't. They are performing. You are comparing your raw footage to their edited trailer. The gap creates chronic inadequacy. You feel broken because you experience the full spectrum, while they broadcast a single frequency. But broadcasting is not living. It is marketing. And marketing does not require truth. It requires consistency. You are punishing yourself for being human in a world that rewards performance. The punishment is isolation. You stop sharing your real state. You start managing your image. And image management is exhausting. It drains the very energy you need to actually feel alive. The identity shift completes the loop. You begin identifying as someone who needs to be happy. This makes every neutral day feel like a personal failure. You lose the ability to occupy neutral space. You lose the right to just exist without evaluation. Life becomes a continuous performance review of your emotional baseline. Did I feel good today? Was I grateful enough? Did I optimize correctly? This is not mindfulness. This is self-surveillance. And surveillance kills spontaneity. It kills play. It kills the exact conditions where joy actually emerges. You are not chasing happiness. You are chasing approval from yourself. And self-approval, when conditional, is just another form of debt. You borrow energy from tomorrow to pay for the mood of today. The interest compounds, the balance grows, the emptiness deepens. The trap closes when you realize you are not pursuing happiness. You are fleeing discomfort. And fleeing guarantees you will never arrive anywhere. You are running on a treadmill labeled contentment, burning metabolic reserves, going nowhere. Your legs are tired, your breath is shallow. Your mind is scanning for the next threat to your mood. This is not peace. This is panic wearing a calm mask. The exit does not require you to run faster. It requires you to step off, to stop treating discomfort as a defect, to stop treating neutrality as failure, to stop treating emotion as a metric to be optimized. The terrain is not the enemy. The resistance to the terrain is. You do not need more happiness. You need less fear of what happiness is not. Let us terminate the chase. You have spent years treating happiness as a destination to be reached. This is a categorical error. Happiness is not a location. It is a directional output. It emerges when your actions align with your values, when your friction serves your growth, and when your attention is invested, not spent. You do not arrive at happiness. You operate in a state that makes it incidental. The moment you stop hunting for the feeling and start engineering the conditions, the dynamic shifts. You are no longer chasing a shadow. You are building the structure that casts it. The first principle is metric removal. Stop tracking your mood. Start tracking your direction. Mood is weather. Direction is climate. When you optimize for daily effect, you fracture your trajectory. You skip hard work because you feel tired. You delay conversations because you feel anxious. You abandon projects because you feel uninspired. You are letting a volatile variable dictate a long-term architecture. Remove the daily scan. Replace it with a weekly vector check. Did I move toward what matters? Not how did I feel while moving. Movement compounds. Feeling fluctuates. Build for movement. The feeling will stabilize as a side effect. The second principle is friction engineering. You do not need more comfort. You need better resistance. Happiness does not grow in zero-gravity environments. It grows under load. Design your days to include necessary friction, cold exposure, deep work blocks, difficult conversations, physical training, unstructured time. These are not punishments. They are anchors. They ground your nervous system in reality. They teach your brain that discomfort is survivable, that effort yields return, that you are capable of more than passive consumption. When you remove all friction, you remove all traction. You slide through life without grip. Reintroduce resistance, not randomly, strategically. Place it where it builds capacity, not where it drains it. The brain adapts to load. Load builds resilience. Resilience builds peace. Peace is the soil where happiness actually roots. The third principle is spectrum acceptance. You have been trained to treat neutrality as failure, to treat boredom as emptiness, to treat fatigue as collapse. But neutrality is the baseline. It is the quiet space where integration happens. It is the reset button for a hyperstimulated nervous system. Stop fighting the flat days. Stop trying to elevate every moment. Let some hours just be. Let some tasks just be done. Let some interactions just happen. You do not need to extract meaning from every second. You need to stop demanding that every second extract meaning from you. Release the pressure. Allow the spectrum. Sadness, boredom, fatigue, peace, focus, flow. They are not enemies. They are data. They are signals. They are the full range of human operation. When you stop pathologizing the low notes, the high notes stop feeling like obligations. They start feeling like events. And events are worth experiencing. Obligations are worth escaping. This is the exit, not a hack, a realignment. You are not broken because you are not constantly happy. You are misaligned because you made happiness the boss instead of the employee. Demote it. Put it in the background. Let direction drive. Let friction build. Let neutrality reset. Let participation generate. The life that produces sustainable satisfaction is not the life that avoids pain. It is the life that uses pain as fuel. It is the life that stops asking, does this feel good? And starts asking, does this matter? When matter precedes mood, the chase ends. When direction precedes dopamine, the anxiety drops. When structure precedes sensation, the void fills, not with noise, with signal, not with peaks, with plateau, not with escape, with presence. You do not find happiness. You build a life that doesn't require you to look for it. The terminal is open. The script is written, execute or don't. The mechanism is indifferent. The output is yours. Decide.